The Arne Slot era has barely even begun. In fact, he's not even had a ball kicked in his name yet. And yet there are so many different conclusions we can make from these early images, press conferences, ways that players are playing it the way in the internationals, all these kind of things. So let's talk about some of these things. Arne Slot has had his first press conference. Again, think he conducted himself pretty well. Again, someone who seems very affable, someone who really knows himself, someone who's very good at staying calm in a situation where there seems to be a lot of attention on him. I still think there is a very humble nature to the way that he acts, even though as a manager, obviously you need a huge ego. Obviously you need something that's going to drive you. Obviously you need to know there is something special about what it is that you're doing. Not only to do something particularly brilliant at a massive institution, but also because players will not respect a guy, or very often will not respect a guy who doesn't know where he's going. It's similar to being in any other leadership role. You need to have a certain je ne sais quoi, something which is going to set you above everyone else. Mourinho had it, Klopp had it, Pep certainly has it, Arteta definitely has it, but all those guys crafted their relationship with players in different ways. And Arne Slot, as head coach, not manager of the team, has this very specific role that he needs to carve out at Liverpool. And frankly, it's kind of unusual as a Liverpool fan to be looking at these dynamics and trying to find what it is that we're doing. We know that there are certain structures at the club that are going to guide the club into this new era. What seems less sure at the moment is obviously exactly how the team are going to play, where very specific parts are going to fit in, which is, by the way, why I love a lot of the speculation about what is happening this summer anyway. Not that I want to make many videos on Núñez, Gakpo, Diaz, any of these guys potentially leaving, because well, it just doesn't seem to be based on very much in the first place. But what I will say is, and I think this is very important to clock in the first place, Liverpool as an institution is fundamentally changing. And Slot within that is going to be a big part of that. But even he, in his own press conference, he acknowledged Richard just next to him. He acknowledged, obviously, everyone else around the club who had their own opinions, as he put it, in a very positive way. And he even acknowledged that, the players are playing very well away on international duty, but what is it that I'm going to do with them? Well, I need to have that conversation myself. Where are we going to see Cody Gakpo play? Let me know in the comments below. Is he going to play on the left wing? Is he going to play through the centre? Is he going to play that deeper role that Klopp wanted him to? Where would Núñez play? Where would Diaz play? Who else is he actually going to bring in? We're seeing at the moment that there's a deal for Max Weifer apparently on his way to Brighton. There are other players that are being looked at by other clubs from Feyenoord, obviously on the back of someone like Arne Slot doing incredible coaching jobs on them. And at the same time, we're seeing someone like our own players in Andy Robertson dropping out the Euros early, obviously getting knocked out the Euros early. Trent Alexander-Arnold being dropped out the England team, possibly coming back in at a right wing-back role. Again, if he's said he wants to play in midfield, what is it that we really want to see him do there? And then also, obviously, all the players away on Copa America duty at the moment, having up and down tournaments, but broadly, all of them looking like the international stars that they are, either for goal scoring or defending or goalkeeping. It bodes well for Liverpool, broadly, and especially, I think, in context. And one thing that Slot said that I think was very important, he walked into a good squad. What I will flag is, I think there are other people who are making very minor adjustments which end up having a much bigger knock-on effect at Arsenal. So, for instance, the Calafiori signing. Manchester United signing someone like De Ligt is going to be a big impact for them. Changing formation, fully leaning into the way that Erik ten Hag plays. Man City possibly losing Ederson and obviously gaining Ortega as a goalkeeper. Ortega's a fantastic goalkeeper, but, let's see what the dynamic's like there. Clearly, there is a bit of uncertainty around Man City. There's still Chelsea coming in. There are still multiple different people in the Premier League who are upgrading, changing squads. It's interesting to think of Liverpool at the moment because obviously we've seen such change at the top with management, whether Liverpool will actually make strides forward or whether there need to be patience this season. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest. Sometimes, and when I say change, I mean change of management, change of approach, change of style. Obviously, there is continuity in some of the style, but broadly, the training sessions will be different. The relationship with the players will be different. As we've seen, those great Instagram photos so far of, I think it was Harvey Elliott, and then Curtis Jones hugging Tsimikas, and then there's Harvey Elliott laughing with the new gaffer, and then there's groups of players, even Fabio Carvalho, weird player to see in a Liverpool training kit at this point. Just so many weird images that don't look AI generated. It doesn't feel, the weird thing is, it doesn't feel wrong at this point to see Slot in that role and Klopp gone, but it does feel different. And you feel, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel slightly apprehensive in everything that's going on. Not as a fan necessarily, I broadly have confidence there, but speaking about the way he will play, he even should we say, amended one of Chris Pajak's comments in the press conference from the Red Men TV, obviously an incredible channel, incredible people. But Chris Pajak said, oh, you played the 4-2-1-3, or you played the 4-2-3-1, right? And he kind of went, oh no, we played 4-3-3. And I thought, oh, okay, like, you're kind of joking, you're kind of adjusting your perception and the way that people see you through making comments like that. But you're also reminding people like, oh, I'm not just going to sit here and just let you tell me things. I am going to reply. I am going to interact. And maybe it's because he knows Pajak is who he is. He can talk to him about tactics, all these kind of things. Maybe he knows that he needs to tell people, no, this is how I played before, because actually, you know, I don't want people thinking I'm going to come in and play two sitting midfielders or whatever. Not that that would massively change things anyway, but you get my point. Like, the way you're perceived as a manager, the way that the press talk about you is important. And his calm demeanour, the way that he is being portrayed at the moment, definitely is helping a transitional period, which potentially could have been difficult for Liverpool. Not having a big name in the manager, not having someone who comes in and, you know, has a track record which everyone sort of goes, I know that guy, I know that name, I know that brand, could potentially be problematic for some other people. It leaves Liverpool with this potential rather than this like, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. And broadly, I think that's good. But you get what I'm saying there. I also think there is very much an exciting time for Liverpool youth at the moment. A lot of the continuity there will remain. Liverpool behind the scenes, obviously, have a lot of really great scouts in terms of youth, but also really great development guys. Previously, they will have been developing for Klopp. Now they're going to be developing, I guess they're going to be adjusting a lot of the intensity, adjusting a lot of the approach, adjusting a lot of the shapes, adjusting how people press to make the seamless transition from under 18s, under 16s, under 18s, under 21s into the Liverpool first team. I'll be interested to see who gets opportunities, whether someone comes in at right back, someone gets to come in at left back, someone gets to come in at, well, Jarell and those guys have made their claim there, but in midfield we seem to have Bajcetic coming back, we seem to have a couple of guys. I'd be interested to see who we could slot in there. Is there going to be a big name signing? I've seen a couple of big names flying around. I don't know if I see any of them realistically coming to Liverpool. They seem like great clickbait, but yeah, not. Calafiori probably on his way to Arsenal. You know, someone like Xavi Simons would be amazing, but clearly is not on Liverpool's radar at the moment. I mean, not from, at least from my perception. And I think broadly we're going to see a lot of continuity rather than Liverpool changing things wholesale and going, oh, this player was terrible, this player was terrible. Mainly because under Klopp, they signed a lot of great players. Cody Gakpo's gone away, had a great tournament, or at least a decent tournament. Virgil van Dijk made minor mistakes, but is still into the quarterfinals with his team. There are lots of, should we say, great details that Liverpool, I think, will be very happy with as they go away to, they've got the Copa America players, those kind of things. I think what we will see is, and we saw Klopp have very specific ideas for a lot of these players, where Nunez would play, where Gakpo would play. That came down to the adaptability, possibly of Pep Lijnders and his backroom staff. Whether the application is the same under someone like Arne Slot, whether he wants them to play in zones of the field, whether he wants them, you know, Gakpo to be a little bit deeper, or whether he wants them to be up front a little bit more, how he feels about the rotations. A lot of people talking about the rotations in midfield, which is probably why he talks of it as a 3 rather than a 2 and a 1. Or whether the up front, there's like the, again, rotations inside those areas, out wide, how the striker interacts with that. We're going to see who he plays and where. I'll be really interested to know what your guys' thoughts are on those kind of things. Broadly, again, really impressed with that early press conference. Broadly, feel fine about all the rumours that I'm hearing. Not heard anything I feel particularly terrible about, mainly because I don't overly have a feeling about the kind of player that I would want to see at the club. Under Edwards, I trust a lot of what happens. Under Richard Hughes, I trust a lot of what happens because I've seen a track record from both men and I've seen a track record from Liverpool of consistency. Now, obviously, previously that consistency came from Jurgen Klopp coaching those guys into very brilliant roles, bringing out the best in what we saw in them personally, but also out in the field. Slot seems like a similar character. Slot seems like a similar approach. Is there going to be, like, I'd love to know what you guys think of the tripping points here for us. Like, you know, is it going to be moving certain players on? Is there going to be a point where we kind of go, oh, uh-oh, we got something here that we really need to, you know, we need to make sure that this goes smoothly rather than it just sort of happening. Be interested to know what you guys think in the comments below. But broadly, great early press conference, good press, good approach, good image. It's going to be interesting to see how that evolves because that will not stay the same. I wonder what his temper is like. I wonder what his temperament is like. I wonder how he approaches losing. There was a great comment actually on my first video about Arne Slot and the way that he presented in that first interview. And if I can bring some of these up here, I think it's really interesting, especially if you look back and look at the way that Liverpool in general have just treated Slot since he's gotten to the club. By the way, so many comments about, or just in general, about, Klopp and his relationship, Klopp and the chats they've had, those kind of things. The big question is, what does he do with Salah, says someone else. I've not even spoken about Salah in this. Someone else says, sacked by Christmas. Someone else says, Arne Slot. Yeah, bald intelligence for Slot. Again, we're probably going to get used to these bald comments. Brendan Rodgers' team were all... Okay, I'm not going to go down that route. You got the rolling R. It's pronounced Arne. 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 FSG need to back him. This is a big thing I'm hearing, right? FSG. I was having chats the other day. I got in a few different Liverpool groups. Someone else in the group said to me, "Oh, we all know that we could have afforded Jude Bellingham last summer." And I kind of thought, well, I don't know. We probably dodged an undramatic bullet with Bellingham. In that, I don't think it's not really a bullet. It's just kind of we dodged a situation with him. He clearly wanted to go to Real Madrid. He clearly had his own ideas. His family have clearly got their own ideas about the way he will be perceived as a player, the way he will conduct himself. I just feel like if we'd spent all that money last summer on Bellingham, not that I think we probably could have gotten him anyway. At this point, I'm kind of realising we never probably were in for him, or never probably could have gotten him. And his approach and his family's approach are very different to other players. Anyway, the point is, I'm glad we have this adaptable midfield with McAllister, an incredible signing, Szoboszlai, an incredible signing. Not a bad Euros, not an amazing Euros, considering how badly Hungary did, but you know what I'm saying. Endo seems to be making all the right noises away on his interviews. It seems as if Diaz, I want to talk about this for a second, is having... Some people in the press say that they think he's going to leave. A lot of people saying Colombia, the noise is that he is posturing to go to somewhere like Barcelona. We all know that this is very often a big goal for players at these kind of clubs. So I'm interested to know what you guys think about that, how you would replace him if he did leave, what you would expect fee-wise if he did leave. I'd love to know. But a lot of people are talking about FSG and sort of saying, oh, they never backed Klopp. I think broadly they did. They won the league with Klopp, and if they hadn't have had Man City, who just spent ungodly amounts of money in this market, I think a lot of people would see Klopp and FSG very differently. You don't know how clueless and ignorant you seem, said someone else. You seem like a resident of the United States. I think that was when I was talking about Arne Slot as a Dutchman, and I said some Dutch people can sometimes rub you up the wrong way. Again, someone here, a Dutch person, saying, you don't know how clueless and ignorant you seem like a resident of the United States. Again, your comments sometimes prove your point. The beard makes you look overweight, even though you're not. Thanks for that. I really want to find this one comment that I had from a fan, because it's pronounced Arne. The amount of people who wanted me to know it was pronounced Arne. This fan basically said, we had a manager who could read the game exceptionally well. We had a manager who could read what the opposition were doing and change things either at halftime or, and this is one thing I'd be interested to know how you guys feel about this, sometimes the players would go down injured and it would allow him to speak to some of the players in the time the player was being treated. Obviously that happened a little, it's happened under most managers, a lot of managers have done that, but the fact that it was kind of noted by a Feyenoord fan and the fact that it felt like something that he did relatively often in order to change games made me wonder. I mean, obviously it's a really smart way of doing it, but it made me sort of think about, oh, how are we going to see the pace and the management of games changing now under someone like Slot? And what are we going to see that's going to be different to Klopp? It was so intense under Klopp. Very often he did want the players to dig out from where they were. Is Slot a little more tweaky? Is he someone who wants to tell players, oh, I've spotted this, do this? And do therefore you need a slightly different profile of player to the ones that Klopp already has? Obviously, they're really smart guys, but you know, Klopp had a very specific kind of profile of player that he was looking for, would only sign very specific kind of guys. Do you think that changes under Slot? Does he look for a slightly different profile, someone who gels with his ideas of football just a little bit more? Or does he try and assess I think he will try and assess the overall mood of the group and the football IQ. I think there are some, obviously most footballers very decent level of understanding of the game, but you get my point here, right? there's different approaches, and sometimes you need to gel with those approaches. I'd love to know what you guys think. Anyway, let me know what you thought of that first press conference. I was really fascinated by it. I love him as the manager already, as a coach, we say. I'm looking forward to his first actual game. I'm still unsure, and I might make a video about this, where he plays Trent. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll chat to you guys in a little while. Much love.